Beth is the only person that's on there. Okey-dokey. It is 12 o'clock and we're going to call the August 21 meeting of the Finance Committee to order. Sharon, if you'd make note of who's here.
Yeah.
And do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Thank you. Any public participation? Seeing and hearing none. We have July 22nd minutes. For a motion to approve the minutes. You. And that brings us to the July financial report. Angela?
Okay, well, let's start with some good news. July was a banner month for Bartlett from a gross revenue perspective. So it was the highest gross revenue month we've ever had. So excellent productivity and high census, and we are executing well on that. So why aren't we profitable? We have continued to take that conservative contractual estimate position since there are a lot of unanswered questions, similar to the conversations we had last month. We still do not have an answer on rural health administration funding, which is 4.2 million a year. We still do not have an answer from Meridian on the adjustments that are not being paid, which is uncompensated care adjustment and low volume adjustment, which we're estimating at about 3 million. Now, if we get rural health demonstration funding, that takes care of the full 7.2 million. It'll solve both problems. But we're continuing to optimistically wait on those answers. Until then, we are not booking those, we're reserving against them. So if we were to take those amounts and take from an annual 7.2 million and put that on a monthly basis, that's 583,000. If we look at where we ended up in July, we were at a negative, this 191.
Yeah.
So adding that 583 back, we would certainly be in a positive position. If then we added on to it the fact that we had $264,000 one-time hit to our flower court. That is because when we did get our exceptional relief from the state, they did not backdate it. We lost 14 days of that reimbursement in July. That 14 days was $344 per bed per day for the 14 days. So that's how we get to the 164,000. I'm saying 246, 264. So check my numbers before I'm talking. So that had an impact. Then we know we have a prior authorization issue that's about 3.3, or we lost 3.3 million in prior year. If we add that on there, that is another couple $100,000. So if we had all of those things resolved and could account for them, based on the work we were already doing, the production part, we would have had a net income of 1.1 million. So it is not a strategic or a functional issue. It continues to be reimbursement pressures. Yes.
So on the with the prior auths, we talked about, can you refresh my memory on how far, what time span that 3.2 million encompasses? Is it just in the last year, or is it over a period of a couple of years?
It's primarily in fiscal year 25.
Okay. And
26.
26.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're 27 now.
I can't read. I don't know what year it is. This is a bad day. Fiscal year 26.
okay, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't a carryover from prior.
There were some small amounts in there, but primarily it was in the year.
And then, so for this first couple of months, we're only reporting on July, right? Because we're, okay. We have not, is our experience that we're doing better on the prior auths?
We have just started to centralize that. It will be multiple months. I do expect that it'll continually improve. The other piece of that for revenue cycle improvement is insurance discovery, and we have seen some immediate lift from that. We're still in the implementation phase, but we've already reaped some rewards. Basically, it's already paid for itself and then some.
Thank you.
So continuing on that piece.
I have one question. So on the Meridian issue, is that continuing to be an issue? So was that a one-time thing or that continues to be a problem?
We have not had those adjustments since January of this year.
It's continued to get.
Correct.
Yeah, because you didn't really understand that you weren't getting them until you kind of got into it, and realized they weren't giving you that. Now that you're not getting the demo. And
Right.
so, but it's a kind of a structural issue until we get the demonstration program back, if and when.
It is. And on a smaller note, we have the issue with the labs not being compensated as the sole community hospital. That we have gotten a little bit of traction on. They said, yes, you are entitled to it. Go ahead and reprocess one claim. Let's see how that processes. And then we'll go back and audit the rest of the claims. And they didn't commit to paying them back by just reviewing them. So we're waiting on that one that we have submitted for reprocessing to see how it processes if it comes out correctly. Now, that's a few $100,000. It's not big dollars, but it's something.
Yeah.
And as we get better visibility, then we start to see more of these issues so we can figure out where's the process breaking? How can we improve collections overall? Because really our production is great and we're getting into good cost controls. We've had good cost controls. We're continuing to reinforce that and tighten up on them even more. So now it's just collecting on what we're doing. And that's going to move the needle and change the outcome.
Okay.
So we talked about insurance discovery, centralizing prior auth. We have sourced subject matter experts, and they are going to launch pad off of this job water work. And then they do have interim RCM directors that will help us implement some of those so we can get there faster and help move that needle faster and get where we want to go. And that'll be on some more revenue cycle projects. We'll have more to come on that. The other item we were working on was a weekly exclusion and prior auth list, and that has been programmed and built. The first report was delivered to the RCM team this Monday, and we are honing in on that, and that'll be a weekly delivery to them. So they'll have that. They're already building rules around it to catch any issues, so the claims go out clean.
For the, now that you're kind of, it seems like you're starting to get your arms around the kind of the whole revenue cycle issue. You know, with the clinics, you know, there's significant, there's additional workload there. I mean, I think we might have talked about this last month, but could you just share with us your thoughts about staffing levels there? I mean, are we appropriately, do we need to have another staff in building specifically around these clinics and making sure that we're staying on top of it going forward?
It's a part of the evaluation that is still ongoing because what we need to do is identify some of these process issues and fix them on the front end. And then we can fully evaluate, do we have the appropriate staff? I think we have near to the appropriate staff. I don't think we're significantly short in any one area, but part of the issue in that evaluation is we're not collecting enough up front. So part of the process and we're not getting the copays and deductibles up front. Well, if we're not collecting up front, it puts more pressure on the back end. And that means that patient financial services is acting as a catch-all.
Right.
So if I were to look at it that way, they would appear significantly understaffed, but it's not really an understaffed issue. We don't need to throw bodies at the problem. We need to fix the process.
The other question I had is the coding and note-taking function around, you know, the billing process. Have you looked at that? I mean, do we feel like we've got the lag is appropriate between, when we're seeing somebody and when we've got the documentation from the clinical side ready to do the billing?
There is an intense focus on there, and that is one of the departments that even Stroudwater noted was flowing appropriately. We are getting those through coding and open billing in 3 days.
And I don't know if you're going to get to it. We talk a little bit about the progress you've made on hospice and home care. Could you just talk about that on the billing side?
Absolutely. So we have a new medical director for hospice. Dr. Butner has taken over that role, and he has done a tremendous job in helping the RCM team and the hospice and home health administration in cleaning up that backlog. We are down to a $30,000 backlog. So the financials for hospice, the improvements that we're seeing is from that cleanup. And now we will see kind of what hospice is going to do on a monthly basis and get a feel for what that looks like. Right. They have done a tremendous job in doing that cleanup and recapturing everything we could possibly bill.
Great.
Additional actions that we are taking in the very near future, we are moving Bartlett Family Medicine, Glacier Keys, and Ophthalmology to provider-based billing. And then subsequently, we will be moving Bartlett Family Medicine and Glacier Keys to Rural Health Clinic, which will improve our reimbursement. It becomes more of a cost-based reimbursement. And then from there, once that hurdle has been jumped, we can look at moving home health under Bartlett Family Medicine, and that will make that program cost-based reimbursement. So we'll have significant improvement across those 3 areas, and that'll give a lift to the financials as well. Those losses will no longer occur. Significant improvement. So for reference, home health loss has been averaging between 500,000 to 700,000. And we would have probably around 700,000 in 340B pharmacy savings across family medicine and Glacier Peds, another 300,000. So that's about 1.5. Ophthalmology, we're estimating about 600,000. So it's a couple $1 million.
So can we talk about timing? How long does the calendar run out for these changes?
I would defer to Gail as she has been the lead on that piece. Yeah.
Are you prepared to talk about it, or you want to update us next month?
Well, we are working with the Stroudwater and the compliance team, and we're hoping for family medicine to that is October. And we are also, if we can do the heavy Glacier Peds. I don't think we'll have that ready for October, but hopefully by the end of the year. That's a little bit less of a financial significance on the ophthalmology. That should be actually, we should be able to see a significant working towards that with doing a getting a attestation for that, and then be able to work on it quicker.
That's just a designation. You do an attestation through CMS, they recognize it, and then you do create a job to their sons right after that, able to transition.
So that's after December, Gail, or is that?
No, that's before.
That'll over about October.
Yeah, you used to have to do it certain times of the year. You don't have to wait. You can do it anytime now.
I think when Angela worked on the budget conversion that you requested, we estimated a January go live for the RHCs too.
And then the second step on the rural health clinic for peds, what's the timing related to that?
That should be, we should be up and ready by December on that.
Oh, okay, great. And then home health will be kind of the last piece that we'll do.
Once we get the rural health clinic, that should be able to be tucked in pretty quick. I know Joe said when he did a last one, he was able to get his visiting health services in that pretty quick. I haven't looked at that yet.
It's somewhere between 90 and 120 days.
So what does that look like, either Gail or Joe, in terms of, how do that, we're gonna have to basically kind of stand down the existing home health and then kind of stand it up again as this new clinic, right?
Yeah.
And what does the public communication related to that look like?
We can do a full press, what's on it. You have to say, you will see closure notices from home health. Our intention is to transition the service to a visiting nurse service. So on a day-to-day basis, patients won't see a difference.
Yeah,
The one caveat that we have found out is they do have to have a supervising provider within our clinic. So they will have to have a clinic visit with one of our doctors to receive these services.
yeah, I guess I'm just more thinking as far as the interruption of service for the patients, number one, but also two, just the messaging around.
So I closed my service on like a Thursday afternoon and it opened up as home visiting nurse services on Friday.
I see, okay.
Basically, we actually did it at month-end billing, so home health bills in a monthly cycle. We cut it off on the 30th. On the 1st, it was visiting nurse services.
Yeah,
We had this all lined up with CMS prior to any transition.
Yeah.
But the one thing I don't know is working on the nuances with the state of Alaska. And so there's some unknown there for me.
and it's also just the confidence piece in the community, just make sure everybody knows, hey, we're not really shutting this down. We're
Yeah.
transitioning into a different form, but the service delivery is the same.
You have the same nurse on the very next day. You'll get your bill will be the only thing that looks different.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
And then, Joe, did you want to discuss the newly developed item, or do you want to table it for now?
It's table. I think the legislation required hasn't passed yet.
Okay. So those were the significant changes and initiatives that are occurring as far as the financial statement. And I was going to discuss budget. The budget series.
And then balance sheet after that?
Balance sheet was very minimal changes. We did have a slight decrease in cash down to 11.1 million, and that was related to the increase in prepaid expenses.
So,
Would you mind?
yeah,
Would you mind sharing what that big bump in prepaid is with the?
I would have to circle back on that one. I don't have that information ready. I apologize.
so could you go to, Sharon, could you go to page 11? So we have, there's total cash there of about $14 million. But our, kind of the available current cash is, aren't we getting awfully low on that? And and then we got the board designated cash too, so I guess we're probably okay overall, but they're really 6 of one, half dozen the other, I know, from terms of the total cash that we've got. It's line 1, 2, and 9, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
So yes, it is concerning that the line one is showing decrease, but there is a piece in CIP appropriated funding that we have not been releasing as timely as we potentially could regarding capital projects. We are going to start working on that process. Cash is lower than we like, but it is a part of where we're at on the collection process.
Sharon, would you go back to 10 so we can focus in on that a little bit? So the days cash is right at 30, and that days cash that includes all three of those lines, right? 1, 2, and 9.
I would have to go back. I don't believe it includes line 9.
Doesn't, it's just 1 and 2.
Yes,
If we could just clarify that for next month,
will do.
maybe shoot me an email and, or maybe the committee an email about that.
It's just lines 1 and 2. I
It
can
is, it's line 1 and 2, okay. And then, so the other question I had, and I meant to ask you when we were talking, I forgot. On the days in AR, that, you know, that's great improvement from the high point in March, but is March adjusted for the contractual adjustment changes? Because the AR number is much lower now because you booked that additional contractual allowance against it, right?
Right, it's due to the increase in reserve, not the improvement in process.
Yeah, okay.
That's
So really, we
as
don't-
as opposed, no, as of that month, so we're.
Yeah, so we didn't go back and look at that.
Did not restate prior months, no.
So really, when we were looking at that big growth in January, February, March, and April, what we didn't know at the time was we had, you know, these other issues that we weren't aware of. And so,
Yeah, that was
from
overstated.
a trend standpoint, it's just not really something, it's not trackable at this point. Okay. Back to you, Angela. Thank you.
So that was the financial statement and the balance sheet. If there were no other questions, we'll move on to the budget scenarios.
Okay.
We do have an answer to Deb's question. So the growth in prepaids was insurances through CBJ. So it's gonna be your malpractice, your property, all the insurances.
It's the normal, any of the payment stuff, right?
We could scroll down to bottom line, see net income, net loss. Okay, so the original board approved budget was the 5 million, budget on the left. The middle is the moderate case scenario, which is we have some very specific initiatives that have been outlined. These are based off of what has been presented before. We'll show those again. And the way they were phased in to have a realistic approach to phasing those in. So it's not everything in the bucket. It's some things were phased in September through January. And then the worst case scenario is on the right. That is if we changed nothing and the reserve and contractual discount rate stayed where it's at. If rural health demonstration funding was not renewed and we did not get the adjustments that we should. So that is absolutely the building is on fire, worst case scenario. So moderate case, where we believe it's more likely to hit, depending on how things trend out. And we go to, forget which page this is. Oh, with that. Okay, here we go. So this has our very specific assumptions on what is going into that moderate case that would get us to a net income of about 1.7 billion. And the assumptions and how it was built into that moderate case are included as well. So for example, improving surgical volumes, which Kim has been working very diligently on. I estimated that we would improve that 25% in July and then improve it to the fully realized position by March of 2027. So it's a gentle phase into the process. It is not a full realization on month one. Revenue cycle functionality that was estimated by Starwater at 6 million of improvement. I estimated that we would have 5% achievement by September, growing to 50% achievement by June, which realizes an improvement of 1.5 million of that 6 million annually. So it is again trying to achieve over a period of time, realizing that we can't turn that all at once. It's through multiple processes and improvements that we get there. So all of these have been layered in, excluding the rural health demonstration funding, which is a full 7.2 million, because at this point, the legislation is written that if it is approved, it would be fully retro. and then we would get the full amount.
Sure. So the full amount includes all of 26 plus what we have not been receiving in 27, correct? Or is that just all of?
It's just, this is just 27. 26 would be posted back to the audit to 26.
So then that negative 8.5 million would drop to the negative 1.2.
Okay.
Any questions on the revised projection?
So, does this also include what we just talked about on the rural health clinic related stuff and provider-based clinic? Is that on one of these lines?
Line 7, I believe. I can't really see that far, but that's where it was before.
And what's the net increase on that one? 750, is that what I'm seeing?
Yes, phased in at 750 with not achieving RHC till January. So this is also a conservative approach.
Yeah, our starting date is probably later than it should be. I think we can beat this estimate.
Yeah.
So the things on this there,
Yeah.
are for the moderate.
Yes.
Yeah, so the second column, first number of columns there, you have to carry that over the second to last column. And that's the amount that you're actually thinking you're gonna bring in, right?
Right, it's under the incremental increase is the dollar value noted, and then the second to last column is the increasing balance. So if you take that worst case scenario of a negative 14.2 plus that ending balance of 15.8 is where you get to the moderate case of 1.6. Sorry, that sounds like more math than most people want to do. It was simpler in my head.
So, should we, so the budget that we've got in the financial report is the original budget column, right?
Yeah.
Should we adjust that? Should we adjust those to the moderate case so that we can track? I'll tell you, I'm one that once you set a budget, it's the budget, right? But in this case, it does seem like maybe it's prudent to update those budget numbers in the system, allocate them monthly on the revenue side, so that we can have a comparison to the moderate case, so that you can be kind of reporting to us how we're doing against that, right? Because otherwise, we're going to be looking at these holes going, oh my God, you know? And it would be nice to, I know that's additional work, but you know, Andrew's a short timer, so you can load him up.
You know, I don't think any of us are worried about the work. My only thought was that we may need to publish the original budget simply because that's CPJ approved, but we can add reports to the revised budget or the expected allowable budget. So that we would have, I know everybody wants to read more reports, but we may have the additional.
I read through them, so I like, so none of these go lost on me. I like that idea, actually, so leave the budget as it is, but have a supplemental report that shows. It does require you to do the intro period allocation of the budget of the moderate numbers. So can we do that and just have it as a new page immediately following the consolidated P&L?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you know, see in the background is she already allocated it on a month-to-month basis across the budget already.
Oh, she has,
Yeah,
okay.
it's the spreadsheet, it's already that way.
So, and that would be in Excel. I assume you can't maintain two budgets in the system, or maybe you can.
I have multiple budgets in the system, but right now it's living in Excel anyway.
Okay.
So you're talking about doing that with the moderate, which is the one you think is the most realistic.
Yeah.
Right, because worst case scenario is if we did nothing, well, if we did, nothing's not
You're not
acceptable.
gonna do that.
Right.
Because that's.
That's what it's not like. Except I-
That
Last 14 is not, that's not acceptable.
right.
I don't think that's very funny, just.
I made a joke and Max said, it was funny. I said,
I know, I
if
heard
we
that.
hit worst case, it's not my problem because you guys fired me.
Well, we must be thinking along the same lines. I said it would last exactly one more meeting.
Yeah, so you do that.
Yeah. Abraham was having the same concerns there. Not ready to change the system budget since it's been published, but. Good. Somebody.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fairly, it's a fairly, that's not a huge increase. It's, $4 million or $4 million decrease. Okay. Thank you for the time on that. I appreciate that. That's super helpful. Feedback to us. See there too.
I have,
Yeah.
just a question on the expense side. So I know you said you feel good about the expense side and you're not proposing any changes. But when I look at the expenses for salaries, it seems like we're 10% off the original budget. In, just the first month for salary expenses. And I'm wondering why the salary expenses are not tracking much.
We have had a very high census,
Okay.
and that is shown in that top line number exceeding what budget was as well. So it's 70% of what we spend is in staff, so it's tracking to the revenue. And we do watch it very closely. We have very strict FTE committees, and we go through a full selection process.
But in terms of the revised budget, you still feel like the numbers on track for the year.
I do. I think, we're in our heavier months.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we've been working on FTEs that wouldn't be reflected in July yet. And so you'll see those come into line. I believe we had over 350,000 in overtime in July just due to the census as well.
Yeah, the other crapshoot line in here is interest income on 37. I mean, I know how you did what you did in the budget, but it's like market's been awfully soft. So, we're hoping we're going to see some rebound there, I guess. Did you get the July booking from them? Or do you have the mark to market for July from CBJ yet? You got it in here? Any other questions from the committee for Angela on anything in the report? I do want to go back and focus on if we can go to a couple of things I just want to kind of go through here just to have a discussion around them. And the first one is the welfare court. Page 8 of the packet. And scroll down. That's right there. So we had about $198,000 less in net patient service revenue. And that was because of that 14 days of exceptional relief, which is $250,000. From being not for that, we've been okay on welfare court, and we're expecting that going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. And then go back to sharing the page 14 on hospice. So that there was a couple of things in here. One was we were way off. So we talked about the revenue and the catch up related to that. But why are the salaries and wages so low though? Do we know why that is? And is it all in the contract labor line? Is that kind of it? It's between 20 and 22. So instead of being in salaries, it's in contract labor.
We did have some turnover And I believe we did have a bit of a lower census in July on patient service. Patients on service,
So the chart,
but it is between contract labor and sales.
okay, all right, so it's kind of, because we have zero budget in there. Okay,
But we had to fill in with contract labor where we didn't have permanent people.
okay. I think I have. Seeing, so I guess that's it. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Buddy? Okay. All right, so back to our agenda. I think housing update is next, right?
That me?
That's you. Too.
We have not moved on the Bartlett House at this point, pending obviously the financial situation. We did work with the person that we leased a bunch of properties with, and they were able to negotiate down a comprehensive contract for the year of the save $1,000 a month. So we were rolling over, just canceling one of the rooms, which we kind of need over the next couple of months, but they were flexible with that. So we merged the contract, which was nice, vendor to do that for us.
Yeah, so Bartlett House, I mean, we want to get our ducks in a row so that we can, I mean, there was still a lot of homework to do, right?
We got the plan in place. I guess the question comes back, and I have to work on this, is we have two pending projects that could potentially come after that. We have the Aurora project, which we need to consider, and we have potential Bartlett House project. We only do one at any given time. Is the ER project. I guess this might be more of a planning committee full board is, do I put the Aurora project on hold and push on the Bartlett project, or I vice versa?
Yeah, that's fine. So, okay, yeah, thank you. Did you get what you needed from Wayne Jensen though?
Yep.
Good, okay.
I can share it with anyone's interested. I can lay out the design and into that
So it's doable and it was for, is that 6 or 8 additional units?
6 units,
6 units. And the estimate was
right around $3 million.
3 million, so $500,000 a unit. Okay, great. Okay, so next item is executive session, and we are gonna need a motion for executive session if you go down. There you go.
I know the finance not a committee, but we should do this session, discuss several matters, those which by law meets the charter. Later staff meeting minutes, patient safety dashboards, and new updates.
Okay, and I don't see anybody. Okay, we're back on the record.
Yes.
And so we're out of executive session, and just for the record, there was no action item, no action taken. We just gave kind of broad recommendation to management on any committee comments and questions? Okay, I do want to talk about, for me, the next meeting we have on the schedule, I think for the 18th of September. And we are going to have the Mertz family in force. And you know, my daughter is getting married on the 19th. And I'm pretty sure my wife would do me in if I thought we could have. Invite.
I thought that's where you're going.
So if we could, I don't know if like the following Tuesday works, like the 22nd.
That is the same day as the board, unless we're gonna move the board to the 5th Tuesday, which is a possibility. Is it the 4th Tuesday is the 22nd, which is where our standing meeting is, but there are 5 Tuesdays in September.
I will be gone no matter which days they are.
Yeah.
Hard to know.
Brenda, so
What next second? That,
that doesn't work for you.
The 22nd,
That whole week or?
the 22nd to do that whole week, yeah.
Well, we don't know.
through the next week, is that week?
Yeah, the next week I'm available, but it's the same because the board week potentially. Yeah, stay.
Any desire to push the board meeting back?
We can't, but that's still, that doesn't resolve Brent's issue.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking we wouldn't necessarily have minutes, probably we wouldn't have minutes. But we could meet on the 28th. If we back, yeah, if you did the 29th.
Yeah, I'm fine with moving it.
I'd rather move it back than forward because, and I'll be online, by the way, I'm gonna be I'll be traveling, but I'll be available. But it gives Angela a chance to get the September numbers for us, which is super useful. On balance, I'd rather have September numbers than minutes.
So I agree.
Yeah. So the 28th then? And with the idea that we'd ask the board to move back to the 29th. And if that doesn't work for the majority of the board, then we'll have to, I'm curious, Chris, did that work for you? You're online, but the 29th work for a board meeting?
Yeah, that works.
It doesn't-
It'd be a big improvement for me, because I'll be flying on the 22nd.
Oh, well, yeah. All right, so let's tentatively shoot for the 28th for finance and 29th for. Yeah. All right. Unless there's not something else, we're adjourned. It's 1:10.
So do we need to change the board packet to reflect the